How's it going, guys? This is Ketchup here once again, bringing you yet another sort of character patch video. We're going to be focusing on Takeda this time, and there really is a laundry list of changes. I'm going to try and go at them one at a time, but mainly go over the method of what these changes can now do. We're going to start in the Lasher variation, because this is the first one I would like to cover. There's a lot of sort of issues where certain attacks on hits were all negative. I'm not going to go over all of them, but long story short, a lot of his combo strings that were negative on hit are no longer negative, they're plus, which means that basically, similar to the Shinnok changes, they're more fixes rather than buffs. The first big change that Takeda got access to was the fact that his forward 1 and then 2-4 string and the forward 1 2-2-4 string, this was kind of his main pressure string across basically all three variations, but there used to be gaps in these strings that could be armored through. If I set the opponent now to block always and reversal with the icy slide, as you can see now, there is no more gap. Obviously he's punishing me because I'm not special cancelling it, but you can special cancel to be safe. The important thing here is that there is no gaps in this string anymore, which means that you can, it's much safer, and it's not a risk going for just basic pressure that he has to do in all three variations. That's a pretty big change, and that's the first change he gets access to. So let's go block off, and there we go. So that's the first change. The second change is that you can now cancel into an X-ray after a blocked jump attack. That's pretty much this. You do a jump in into X-ray on block. Obviously he's on hit now, but you get the idea. You can now do this on block as well. It's not hugely important, but if you want to throw in a cheeky double overhead and risk all your meter doing it, you can now do that, basically. That's one of the changes. The second change is that you can now meter burn your Fist Flurry on hit. This applies to both Fist Flurry and Whip Assault. Obviously Lasher gets Whip Assault, which is the same move. It means that you can do the regular Whip Assault, see it hit, and then meter burn on reaction, and go into something else. I'm sure we can get more damage, but that's just, that's whatever. So you can see it connect, and then meter burn on reaction, and then go into something else. So you can do something as low, into the flurry, hit confirm. You can do that in all three variations, and it basically just gives you a little bit more of a hit confirm. As far as I'm aware, it's still unsafe on block though, so be very careful there. Tornado Kick is now -6 on block. I think this could potentially actually be a really good change. This is Tornado Kick. Many Takeda players said that it wasn't very useful at all, if remotely useful. Very unsafe on block, takes a long time to start up, knocks him on the ground. The two changes though is that it's now -6, which is basically safe, and it grants a hard knockdown. This is another potentially very interesting change because, it now grants a hard knockdown. So you can do some kind of combo like, I don't know, let's go for this, for example, jump kick into, we'll do, let's go for like a generic combo here, meter burn it, neutral jump punch, jump kick into overhead, hard knockdown, and then here comes some like random Oki thing. I don't know, but you get the idea. Hard knockdown, safe on block. It now means that you can kind of throw this move out a little bit safer. If you see a projectile, you can kind of instant air, reaction, and even if they block it, you're not punishable anymore. So, there's a little bit more of a point to using this move. Obviously, the hitbox is a bit weird, so you've got to get used to it, but the fact is you've just got an extra tool that is no longer as ridiculously unsafe as it was before. I'm not going to pick Shiro Ryu, but the change is you can now quick phase to delay for 2 seconds up from 1. So I assume his quick phase is his cancel teleport. You can now delay it for 2 seconds rather than 1. You can delay it for an extra second if you choose to do that. That was the change that Shiro Ryu received, but this patch really fixed Lasher and Ronin more than anything else. First things first, Lasher, his down forward 1, this is now 5 frames faster on recovery when it hits an opponent. So the meter burn version as well, his down forward 1, the meter burn down forward 1 as well, recovers 5 frames faster on hit. It basically means, I assume, that you can just kind of use it or recover quicker and then get moving again. I assume it was a necessary change. You can now meter burn Whip Assault on hit. That one we've covered. You do the Whip Assault, meter burn on reaction, go in for a follow-up, whatever you want to do. Removed 5 recovery frames from hit from Whip Strike and Whip Thrash, just covered that. Now, this is one of the big deals. He has 2 new air normals. Forward 1 in the air, when you're jumping diagonally, you must be jumping diagonally. Forward 1 and forward 2 give him separate jump normals. So the forward 2 in the air is much more of a circular motion, and as you can see the hitbox is ridiculous. There's no way you're going to anti-air him. No way, unless you've got Kung Lao's spin, there's no way you're anti-airing that. His jump in forward 1 as well, same thing, but it has more range as far as I can tell. This is very, very important, kind of reminiscent of Injustice characters like Catwoman, where they had these really crazy jumping normals, but because obviously the flip kick is now safe on block and -6 and hard knockdown, you could do something like jump into this and then special cancel into that. And then, you know, you can even whiff it. So you can even whiff on recovery. Go for this, then meter burn, get the flip. If they try and anti-air you, there you go. You've gone for a flip kick. Jump in, on whiff, or on hit, go into this. So jump in, double overhead, full combo, and then go for whatever you want to do. I'm sure you can get more damage than that, but you guys get the idea. So his jumping game's going to become, you know, very, very strong. Probably one of the strongest jumping games in the game, if not the strongest. I mean, you can see the range of this. It's insane. And the fact that you can special cancel it, which, you know, leads for some other opportunities for aggression. And you can see the hitbox on cross-ups is pretty decent as well. On top of that, fixed a bug that was causing back punch, forward punch sometimes be negative on ducking opponents. So down towards forward punch, his low slash, which is down back 2. This is now plus 19 on hit. It used to be plus 4, but because it's plus 19, he can now really get some pressure on the go. I'm not sure what kind of pressure you could go for because I don't play Lasher, but because it's now plus 19, not plus 4, you have a significantly more time to get some kind of knockdown pressure going. I'm sure the Lasher players will be able to get creative with that. Let's change to Ronin. This is where things get really interesting, especially for me as a Ronin player. These are some of the more significant changes in my opinion. A lot of general speeding up. His standing 2 starts up quicker. His back 2 now starts up quicker as well. Only by a couple of frames, but it is, you know, the reality is they are faster, so they're a little bit more useful in that regard. But let's go over these changes one by one. Fixed a bug that was causing back punch, forward punch sometimes being more negative on hit during ducking opponents, which is this one, I believe, which has been fixed. Sure, you can. The meter burn version as well. His uppercut, which is his down forward 1, and the meter burn uppercut now do more damage. The regular one does 10% from 9, and the double one does 14% from 11. The hitbox has also been increased, so it hits more vertically upwards, which means it's a much more viable anti-air. You may have heard me mention in previous videos that the hitbox on it really wasn't very good. Opponents could just sort of jump over it even though you were using it as an anti-air, or if they could cross you up. But that has since been fixed and now hits much higher up in the air and does more damage. A very necessary change. His piercing spark, which I believe is his projectile, now recovers 2 frames faster on hit. Basically means that you can use it much quicker, use it up close for pressure and just recover just ever so slightly quicker. Now, his back 1, this hits mid. This used to be a high, now it's a mid. As you can see, it's got really good range on it. So a mid that is a launcher as well on hit, sorry. This is a pretty big deal. The fact it's a mid means it's just a little bit more of a pressure game, and it's just slightly better. As you can see, you know, you can now go back on 1 and then go into this. Because it's a mid, it's just much more reasonable of a poke, and that's a pretty big deal there. It's very decent that it's now a mid rather than a high. Let's look at these other changes. Now it's mid, 11 startup frames, and there we go, yeah, plus 2 on block. So this is now minus 2, up from minus 23, 11 startup frames. It's actually really fast as well, it has been sped up, like some of the strings and normals that I mentioned before. This is now 0 on block, which used to be minus 21, a very nice change there. Again, you can kind of, as I mentioned, you can now sort of throw in special cancel and go in for some more stuff. The fact that it now recovers quicker on block is a pretty big deal. Back punch now has 12 start frames. The standing 2 now has 12, down from 14. Basically, it just means that the standing 2 is faster. They mentioned it as an anti-air, but I'm not really sure about that one. His 2-1 is now plus 2 on block. This used to be minus 10, now it's plus 2. And now causes a different air reaction. That means that if you hit the opponent in the air, it actually causes a restand. This is one of the biggest changes, if not I think the biggest change that Ronin actually received. When the opponent is in the air, the 2-1 causes a restand, which does a multitude of different things. Before I go into those uses, I'm going to quickly go over the rest of the changes. So his back 2 now has 12 start frames, that's faster as well. And the other change is obviously increase active frames on the uppercut until he is done rising. That was the hitbox change that I mentioned earlier. So before we close this video up, I want to go into why I think this 2-1 was actually a really big change for this character. First things first, it actually opens up for some new combo opportunities. If you now do something, you know, the combo we used to do would be something like back 1, 2, 2, 4, meter burn, recall, run into 1 into, you know, flurry punches. This used to be kind of tricky to land sometimes because the 2-1 didn't cause a restand. Now, because it does cause a restand, this will work almost every single time because the restand effect applies. So first things first, your combos will actually become a lot easier now the restand effect is caused. But what it also does, it opens up for some new combo opportunities. So for example, if you land a neutral jump punch, it used to be 4-4 uppercut. That was pretty much the most go-to damage you could get. It doesn't look like much, but that was how you would normally hurt the opponent off a neutral jump punch. Now you can spend a bar to do something like this. Neutral jump punch, 2-1 flurry punches, meter burner as you can now do, run in, 2-1, you know, flurry punches again. So just to go over that again, it'd be neutral jump punch, 2-1 flurry, meter burn, run cancel, 2-1 flurry, and then get a hard knockdown into your pressure, and then you've got good damage, you've spent the bar, and that combo is now only possible because of the 2-1 restand. If you use the 2-1 into recall like this, if you use it early on in the combo, you are kind of plus. If I go block mode auto like this, if you do something like 2-1 recall into a quick run cancel, if you get a bit of a run cancel here, the pressure is more possible. It doesn't really apply at the end of combos, however. I could be wrong. I'm sure some of the other Ronin players will find some interesting stuff, but if you do like a full combo here, for example, and end it in 2-1 blade call, this isn't really plus at all. The opponent recovers very, very, very quickly. But what you can do, obviously, is sacrifice the damage, do this really early, go for a recall, and then go for pressure, whatever you want to do. But you are going to lose a chunk of damage. I think the most viable thing could possibly just be use the restand to get more damage, meter burn, run cancel 2-1, hard knockdown, and then hard knockdown gives that anyway, and then your pressure can begin into whatever you want to do. So, the fact he gets more damage is very, very interesting. It actually gives him a good solid punish as well. You can do something like, now his back 1-1-2 is a mid, you can now do something like this, like so. You can now do that, which obviously wasn't possible before. 23 doesn't look like much, but you can spend a bar to get more of a solid sort of B&B in terms of punishing. So you can do back 1-1-2, 2-1 into flurries, meter burn, run cancel 2-1, and then do it again. So 33% hard knockdown into your pressure, and now you can start doing this again, whatever you want to do here. There's no gap in that string anymore, which means that your pressure is a lot more viable, the block strings are there, you're also going to build a lot of meter. The interesting thing as well is that now 2-1 causes a restand. If you actually do the 2-1 flurry punches, run cancel, you'll actually notice the gravity is pretty much always the same. Even if I rep this 3 times or 4 times, the gravity will always remain the same. So as long as you have meter, you can constantly do reps of the 2-1 into back forward 2 meter burn. The gravity seems to stay the same, and they don't fall out of the combo like they used to. So for example, if you've got 3 bars and you land this, you can actually use all 3 of your bars to do something like this, which will do, let's have a look at the damage here. 35 hits, 49% damage. I know it's 50% for 3 bars isn't all that useful, however, if it's going to kill, they've got no breaker and you land a neutral jump punch, you've now got the option to kill the opponent, which you couldn't do before. Or if you just want to go for one good chunk of damage, hard knockdown into your pressure, you can now do that because of the restand. I'm sure there's many other things you can do, but the last thing I want to touch upon is the fact that you can now do something I did find, which is this. His meter burn flip kick, which is back forward 4, this is the one thing I found after about half an hour of training mode here. I'm sure there's more you can do, but this is one of the setups that I've discovered that is now only possible in post Ronin. You go for a combo as normal, so let's go for a combo, knock him in the air, go for the restand, but then go for meter burn flip kick. This actually now works. It didn't work before, but I'm sure you can get more damage than this, but the method will be go for a combo, go for a restand afterwards, and then do a meter burn flip kick, special cancelled. You can now go in for something else, and then I'm sure you can get more damage than that, but you guys kind of understand what I'm getting at. It doesn't do a true combo. The flip kick takes so long to start up, and because I've done the 2-1 late in the combo, he recovers a lot quicker. So when you do something like this, when you knock him on the floor, it just opens up for a reset situation that he couldn't do before. It resets the combo, and now I can do something. I'm sure you can do more, but you guys get the idea. That's pretty much Takeda. Long story short, I know this is probably a lengthy video, but the reality is Takeda got a lot of changes. And as always, I really want to kind of explain the method of these changes rather than just listing what the patch changes actually did to the characters. I think Takeda could be very, very strong. I'm really looking forward to playing more Ronin. I'm even more looking forward to seeing what the players like Hayate and etc, those kind of guys who play Ronin a lot longer than I have will be able to do with Ronin. I'm sure they're going to come up with some really interesting stuff. Hopefully Lasher has a little bit more viability now. I want to see people use Lasher and show us some stuff that you couldn't do before. But that's it. The fact there's no gap here is a big deal. The fact there's no gap here is a big deal. He has more pressure, gets more damage, gets better mix-ups because of the lack of gaps, and Ronin gets a lot more interesting combo opportunities, so he gets more damage and more mix-ups. This patch is wholeheartedly buffed Ronin in my opinion, to a point where I think he could be super duper viable. That's that, I'm afraid. That is going to be the end of this Takeda video. Obviously if I've missed anything, please let me know, and if there are any uses to these moves that I am yet to find, then please let me know. Hit me up on Twitter or just mention it in the YouTube comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more characters. We are going to be doing a bunch of these for each individual character. Thank you very much for watching. I am Ketchup, and I will see you next time. Take care.